This is Team 4's rocket pitch presentation. We will be doing our rocket pitch on a proposed restaurant, HANH Sandwiches and Salads. I am Hiam, Srouji, and joining me is my team.
I'm Britta, Herrin.
I'm Nicole, Girage.
And I'm Heather, Klein.
HANH Sandwiches and Salads is a proposed restaurant we'll be starting in Atlanta, Georgia. We have a menu, but also a large selection of breads and ingredients to build your own sandwiches and salads. We also serve tea, smoothie, and coffee roasted in store. The choice is that all of our vegetables are grown on our rooftop garden in our specialized water-conserving compost urban gardening boxes. And our meats and other ingredients are local from farms with eco-friendly practices. We also offer a variety of gluten-free, vegetarian, and vegan-friendly options, and everything served in store is organic and drug-free. Millennials now have become the largest generational group in the United States, overtaking baby boomers, and this is changing every industry in the nation, especially the restaurant industry. Millennials see eating out as a social event, and for the first time, consumers are spending more money at restaurants than on groceries, and they go out an average of 4.5 times a week. Although the statistic is actually higher in Atlanta, where people eat out 5.2 times per week instead, the highest in the nation. Their values are also affecting the restaurant industry. Millennials want to be healthy, and they want to believe in the importance of people and the environment over government and business. Because of these issues, 68% of consumers now say that they would rather most likely eat out at restaurants serving locally sourced food, and 60% of consumers prefer restaurants with eco-friendly practices. According to the National Restaurant Association, environmental sustainability is the hottest menu trend and will last 10 years from now, followed by closely by local sourcing. Clearly, the market opportunity for restaurants like HANH Sandwiches and Salads is tremendous.
There are many reasons why we believe that HANH Sandwiches and Salads would be valuable for the Atlanta community. First, our patrons would be assured that they're eating the healthiest ingredients possible. Our restaurant would use no pesticides on our vegetables and fruits. According to the EPA, 60% of herbicides, 90% of fungicides, and 30% of insecticides are considered carcinogenic. That means the more healthy foods that Americans are putting into their body, the more they're putting their systems at risk for horrifying things like cancer. A high percentage of meats are contaminated with these pesticides too, because the animals are grazing on plants that have been chemically treated. We would avoid this by buying from small local farms that are free range and have no pesticides where the animals graze. These animals would also be free of sex and growth hormones that large farms add to animal feed. Even at high cooking temperatures, these hormones are not broken down and are therefore consumed by customers. So we believe very strongly that the practices at HANH Sandwiches and Salads would make our patrons healthier. Large farms also hurt the ecosystem. It's estimated that 1.8 billion tons of topsoil are lost every year thanks to farming in the United States. This means we're losing soil faster than it naturally forms. Our gardening boxes use compost, so we would not be contributing to the problem. Aside from that, buying from smaller local farms also boosts the local economy, and the meat produced from these farms is from animals who are kept healthier and treated more humanely than the livestock at mass production farms.
We will be contacting Mountain Valley Farm in Ellijay, Georgia, and Carlton Farm in Rockmart, Georgia, which are both dedicated to raising healthy, grass-fed livestock with no added antibiotics or hormones. We will be creating a profile on Greenie's application, which is available in the App Store and on Google Play. This app was created to help consumers find restaurants and grocers that buy from local and sustainable sources. We want consumers who are searching for a local, fresh restaurant to be able to find us quickly and easily. We will also be buying New City grow beds to install within our establishment. New City grow beds are self-watering and self-fertilizing gardening systems made for urban living. The grow beds use compost and earthworms only to create their own fertilizer. Since these grow beds can prosper in small spaces with little resources, we will be able to grow our own fruits and vegetables on site for our customers to enjoy daily. We will also be conducting open interviews before we actually open to ensure that we have enough staff on hand to operate. We will also be creating a full-service business website. This will require us to create a domain name that is easily remembered and accessed by all of our prospective customers. We will be uploading our menu, our business hours, and even a discussion section where people can leave reviews, comments, and chat with each other about their experience at our restaurant.
The resource requirements for HANH Sandwiches and Salads is very extensive, the most important being the people. because of how extensive and how many parts there are to our operation, being a farm-to-table restaurant, we would need a handful of managers. We would need our general manager who oversees all operations of the full restaurant. We need a front-of-house restaurant manager. This manager would oversee all operations that occur in the front of the house, anything that is customer related and anything that occurs outside of the kitchen essentially. We would also need a back-of-house kitchen manager, which operates all aspects of the kitchen and running the back end of the restaurant. And because of our farm-to-table restaurant, we thought it would be appropriate to add a produce manager, a manager who is strictly there devoted to handling all produce, keeping up with local farmers, as well as managing the rooftop garden. Besides that management team, we need employees as well. We would also need a board of directors, which would consist of environmentally friendly individuals who really strive to make HANH as eco-friendly and leave as little carbon footprint as possible. We would pull people for the board of directors from local farmers, the community, as well as investors. Next, we need a lawyer. It is very important to cover all aspects of the business legally, and we would source that out to an outside help. We would also need an accountant, which we again would source to an outside help just to make sure all financials are correct. We would also need a consultant. It is very important that our consultant is an environmentalist and really strives to make HANH as eco-friendly as possible and shows the business the correct way to be as eco-friendly as possible without losing profits. For our financial resources, we need $500,000, so $500,000. I say this because restaurants are likely to fail in the first 6 months to a year, and it is very difficult to turn profits in that time. Because of this, we need to account for payroll, being able to buy produce, and being able to take care of any overhead cost. Having such a large margin in our financial resources will allow us to be able to operate. Next comes all of our assets, which includes everything in the building. So we have the building the standalone building, a parking structure, as well as our rooftop garden and all items associated with gardening, our hydroponic system, the water that we need for it, as well as seeds. We also need all aspects of the restaurant. So the stove, the oven, the walk-in cooler, all of the tables, chairs, soft drinks machines, refrigerators, all kitchen appliances, food storage, all of those would be assets of the restaurant. For our risk management plan, part of the appeal of a farm-to-table restaurant is the fact that we won't carry the same produce all seasons, and so our menu will change seasonally. This will help keep customers coming back and show them a new variety so they don't get bored with the same menu. Another way that we would manage the risk management is to make sure all employees and staff are properly trained, not only with the procedures, but also the morals and the values of the company. We would do this by having bi-weekly employee reviews for the first 6 months, and then further, once we're down the road, reduce those to monthly reviews. Next, for our risk management, we would coordinate with our lawyers and make sure that all of our items and all of our endeavors are legal and we will not be at fault. Those are just some ways that we would manage and help improve HANH sandwiches and salads, and we hope in the future we can get investors for this awesome project. Thank you.